Hi, I'm your host Vasco Duarte. Welcome to the Scrum Master Toolbox podcast, where we share tips and tricks from Scrum Masters around the world. Every day, we bring you inspiring answers to important questions that all Scrum Masters face day after day. On Fridays, we talk about the product owner role in Scrum. We talk about patterns and anti-patterns that relate to ours and the team's collaboration with the product owner. And we've also put together a course to help you navigate that relationship. There's 18 modules, nearly 8 hours of tools, techniques, videos, handouts, presentations you can use to help you and your team work better with your product owner. The course is available at bit.ly/coachyourPO. All lowercase, all one word. That's bit.ly/coachyourPO. And now, on to the show, the Product Owner Show. Hello everybody, welcome to our Friday TGIF and Product Owner episode this week with Jacy Ong. Hi Jacy, welcome back.
Hi Vasco, happy to be back again.
So Jacy, on Fridays we talk about the product owner because of course the relationship we and the team have with the product owner is critical for the success of the team. And we'll start with a bad example so that we may end up on a high and talk about a great example. So let's start with that. Jacy, what might have been the worst product owner anti-pattern you've witnessed in your career?
I would say the worst anti-pattern would actually be, there would be two, where the product owner is not available. And at the same time, the product owner also has this tendency to micromanage the team in terms of telling them what needs to be done and how it can be done. So I feel these are the worst anti-pattern.
How does that manifest itself?
I think it's because it is related, I feel, because of the fact that the product owner is not available for the team. So as such, it kind of builds up the anticipation or the anxiety in the product owner, like, oh, I'm not around like for the daily stand-up, right? So I need to check on the team constantly. So there's that fear that manifests in the product owner himself or herself, where because of his or her unavailability, he or she feels that they need to check up more on the team. This can be seen during the daily stand-ups or even in chat conversation channels, right, where the product owner asks for status updates almost maybe every 2 hours. And that I feel can be quite destructive to the team, because as developers we kind of want to be left alone to do our work as long as you communicate what the goal is, what needs to be achieved, and then developers just want to spend their own time and do the work, right? So when you have a product owner that is not available and at the same time micromanages the team at that level, I don't think is good for the team to be successful at the end.
Absolutely. I can imagine a lot of anti-patterns that might emerge from that first absence and then micromanagement through email or whatever, Slack or whatever that might be. So, Jacy, in those situations, like what have you learned might help? Because, of course, we are, as Scrum Masters, trying to heal the relationship between the team and the product owner so that they may trust each other. And, of course, there may be more space for the team to perform. So what, in your experience, has worked to help teams and product owners in that situation?
Yep. So what I would normally do is for the first step is for me to observe how the dynamic is between the product owner, how he or she is channeling their responses to the team, and I would of course bring this as an information, or rather as an observation to the product owner to check that, hey, I actually observed or noticed that this happened, and I would have a conversation with the product owner about it, about why they think that. Basically, what are their thoughts? It's an open question. Normally, I would ask, like, what are your thoughts about this? Then from there, hopefully, we can get the product owner to open up the reason why they are behaving in such a manner. So that's one side on communicating with the product owner. On the other side, I will also check check in with the development team as well as a whole to get their feedback if they are actually okay with such a behavior or not. So with that feedback, I will also provide it as a feedback to the product owner, if especially those feedback is not surfaced during the retrospective, right? If it's surfaced during the retrospective, then that's good. It's a very open platform during the retrospective to discuss how people are working. But if it's not, I would then channel that feedback to the product owner himself or herself, and suggest perhaps ways that they can trust the team better. So that is when perhaps the usage of Jira or Microsoft Azure would be helpful, so that the product owner doesn't need to always ask for status updates. Instead, there's an information radiator on Jira or on Microsoft or any platforms, and he or she can see what the progress that the team is having. So that I feel can give the product owner some certainty, or perhaps some relief as well, that hey, actually I can actually trust my team and don't micromanage them that much. At the same time, I will also give the feedback to the product owner that he or she needs to be more available for the team, because without the product owner, the team is working like a headless chicken with no direction, with no common goal, right? So I will also ask for the product owner to be more committed to the team, where perhaps they can spend some time, at least during the sprint planning, to lay out what is the goal for that sprint, and basically do their part as a product owner for the team, because else it may manifest in the team's behavior as well, which is not good in the long run.
Absolutely. That last part that you just shared is actually quite important. I've created a sprint calendar and sprint checklist for Scrum Masters to have that conversation, exactly that conversation with product owners, because actually the product owner being absent is one of the most common anti-patterns we see in Scrum teams.
Yep. Definitely agree as well.
All right. So I'll put the link on the show notes so that the listeners can go and download that sprint calendar and sprint checklist that helps with that conversation with the PO. But Jacy, now we turn our attention to the opposite, to what might be potentially the best product owner you've ever worked with. So share that story and what you've learned from that with us.
Yes, for this I have like a classic persona of a great product owner. So I've worked and I've seen a few product owners that I feel are great product owners, and he or she has the characteristics where they really understand the product in and out, why the product exists, what value added does the product bring to the customers, and also potential customers that they want to tap into. And they are, of course, always available to the team as well, in terms of attending the sprint planning or the daily standards, or even being responsive to the team whenever the team needs the product owner to clarify on certain stories, for example. And because of this characteristic, the product owner is somehow more easy to collaborate with, and it makes the team feel safer to also like provide feedback to the product owner as well, because he or she is so open to feedback and suggestions to improve, right? The team does not really hesitate at all to say like, hey, I feel that this story could have been done in a better manner. Or the team can just openly say, hey, I feel that this story was kind of bad. So what's up with that? So you see these kind of conversations happening within the team with the product owner, and the product owner accepts it as a critical feedback for improvement for himself or herself. So that working dynamic within the team is very nice to see. Actually, it's like what I mentioned in the previous recording, where the team levels up together. So the product owner challenges the team, and the team also challenges the product owner. So this is very nice, actually. I feel. And of course, in terms of product backlog management, I feel the product owner also has that updated to his latest thinking as well. And basically always available to the team and open to feedback.
Absolutely. That's one of the things that, or one of the things that you said is one of the things that I find so much value out of this idea that the team challenges the PO, like brings their technical innovation perspective to the conversation, because the PO is not necessarily technically versed or an expert in the technical possibilities, the engineering challenges. And the PO challenges the team to go beyond the constraints of the technology and to think about it from a value perspective, from a customer value perspective.
Yep.
Jacy, wow, it's been a great week with you. Thank you very much for being with us. Before we do go, where can we find out more about you and the work that you're doing?
You can find me on LinkedIn. I'm mostly active there. So it's LinkedIn/Jacy Ong. So that is my LinkedIn basically. I don't have Twitter. I'm not on any other platforms. So you can find me on LinkedIn.
Absolutely. We'll put the link on the show notes so that people can easily find you. So Jacy, once again, thank you very much for your generosity with your time and your knowledge.
Thank you so much for having me here as well, Vasco. Really appreciate it.
One more week of the Scrum Master Toolbox podcast is over, but there's a lot more we have to share. We have developed our own membership site where you find a community of active and engaged Scrum Masters. In this site, you get access to exclusive content and get to interact with us, your podcast hosts, as well as the best Scrum Masters in the world. Join us at scrummastertoolbox.com/podcast and keep this podcast free of advertising. See you next week for one more week full of Scrum Master tips and tricks. We really hope you liked our show. And if you did, why not rate this podcast on Stitcher or iTunes? Share this podcast and let other Scrum Masters know about this valuable resource for their work. Remember that sharing is caring.